Hello, everyone. I am Ricky Salvage, your president of sales here for North America, and I'm so excited to be a part of this India opportunity call. You guys, this is now our second month in a row where we are gathering, discussing, talking about the launch of India as we are getting ready for that November date. And I cannot wait to share with you all the information about this launch coming up. Okay, so we have two incredible speakers, and we're gonna just jump right in and get to it. Oh, and you guys, I know you're gonna have questions. Put them in the chat. We'll try to answer those as we go. And if you're like, Ricky, how can I go back and watch this again if I need more information, or maybe I just need to hear it again? Guess what? Right now, we are already streaming live into our US Facebook group and our Canada Facebook group. So, again, anyone on your team can jump in and watch the recording. Yeah, so let's do it. Okay, you guys, our very first speaker, you guys have seen him before. He is absolutely incredible. We have Andrew here, who's the director of global new market development. And before he jumps in and begins, you guys, Andrew is such an incredible asset for Nu Skin. He is like Bree's Nu Skin family. He's been here for 13 years and done a little bit of everything from finance, commissions, analytics, customer experience, and now he's into that new business development. And he loves you guys so much, but also his family is part of the Nu Skin family as well. As his wife is actually part of our North America sales team, who you guys know so well, Alice. And also at one point, his dad also worked here at Nu Skin. Alice and Andrew have a 2-year-old daughter who is just the cutest, and he has been traveling so much over to India right now, and I'm sure he misses her a ton. But you guys, please welcome Andrew P, because I'm not going to try to say your last name. Andrew P, you guys are Director of Global New Market Development. Andrew, take it away.
Thank you, Ricky. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for those kind words. And I'm so excited to be here with you today to talk more about India. I've been talking so much about India, but I do not get tired of it at all. I am looking forward to just sharing so much more information with you today. We'll spend a little bit more time today on compensation plan and programs, but I do want to touch upon kind of a few key topics on product related kind of updates and also just the potential of India. So without further ado, let's get started on that as I share my screen. Let's see. All right. You guys should be able to see my screen right now. Perfect. Okay. So like I mentioned, I'm going to take just a little bit of time to talk to you about why India is important, why the opportunity is important. There's a lot of people obviously know India is the biggest country in the world in terms of population. But what's important for Nu Skin, or why is Nu Skin going to India so important for us? To me, it boils down to three key facts or three key stats about India. The first one is just that the age of the population. It is a very young demographic. 65% of the population is under the age of 35 with median age of 28. Just think about all of those eager entrepreneurs in the making, looking for opportunity. That's right there. And there's 400 plus a million millennials in the country. Think about the size of that market. That's like almost the size of the entire US right there. The middle class as well in India. India has always been kind of a country of extremes, disparate, almost like the rich versus like the very poor. In India, there have been recent trends, however, that the middle class has actually been growing. In fact, currently there's about 300 to 350 million middle class households in India, and that's only projected to grow in the next 20 years. Normally, what you might think of kind of an economic distribution or just like the classes being almost like a triangle, narrower at the top. But India is actually going to show us something different based on how the trends are going. Our middle class is actually going to be the biggest group by the end of this decade. So really exciting trends to come on. That was the second key point, right? Is just the size of the middle class. One thing to note in India, though, is middle class will mean different than what middle class means in North America, right? Just purely from a purchasing power parity, cost of living, Price points are different, but in terms of affordability, quality of life, you can think of the middle class kind of as an analogy or analogous to what we have in North America. And then finally, the third key factor data point that I think is really important for us as a social first, digital first company that's leadership driven come in is just the size and the tech savviness of the Indian population. 1 billion people are online via mobile. Almost half of them are social media users. When you think about that 1 billion population, that's impressive, right? That's like almost 70% of India's total population. And when you see where they're on, it's social media platforms, it's consuming content, it's eager to learn more about different things. I think this is something that the Indian government has done really well over the past couple of decades, is just make sure that the web, the internet, social media has been able to penetrate to as broad of India as they can. And they've done this really through some really great measures in making sure that internet data is cheap, for example, in India. I just have like a 1 year subscription myself for my Indian phone number, and it cost me $40 for a year's worth of subscription. And that's like 2 GB of data a day to be consumed. So very impressive. I think it just allows that penetration of the internet data, digital savviness, tech savviness aspect of it. So really, those are kind of the three key aspects of why India is important, why it should matter to you, why you should get excited about it. It's the young population, it's the growing middle class, and it's that digital tech savviness of the population. And then when we talk about direct sales in India itself, it is one of the bigger direct sales markets in the world. As of 2023, it was worth about $3.4 billion. Now, what's interesting is those $3.4 billion were generated from 8.6 million distributors. This again is different than, for example, the US. The US is also a very big direct selling market, right? It's about $40 billion annually, but it takes about 12 to 13 million distributors to generate that 40 billion. So again, you're going to see a little bit of difference here with India, right? Where you have a lot more people on a per unit basis generating a fewer amount of sales. And that goes back to what I mentioned before about purchasing power parity and just cost of living. Because, and I mentioned this again, just to let you know kind of where our mind has been when it comes to our products and how we price them and how we decide our portfolio. One other interesting point I think about the direct selling workforce in India is the male to female ratio. Typically, in most of our markets, we see about 80% of our distributor force are women. In India, it's actually flipped. It's actually 67% of the workforce are men. Now, this is a trend that I've been on a couple of other calls where some of our leaders have noticed, some of our leaders who've helped open other markets, that this was trends that they noticed in other markets before as well, back in the day when we opened them. I think this speaks to kind of the potential, again, of India, where you've got that young population coming in, but also the women in that population are getting more independent, entering the workforce. So I think that bodes well for us and our opportunity and our vision as well to really change this narrative of this 1 to 3 female to male ratio and almost flip it around. From a product mix perspective, in the direct selling side, wellness dominates the market. There's been a couple of international companies that have done really well that have driven this. Post-COVID, they've really skyrocketed. And that's really, I think for us, it's a benefit for us because what they've done is they've created more awareness about the need for wellness and the need for supplements and the need for weight management. India being a carb-heavy diet, I think there's a need for a lot of our Formanix products and the solutions that they offer. Beauty also makes up 11% of the direct selling space. It's relatively smaller compared to the wellness space, but it's still a good chunk of the market. So I think this bodes really well for Nu Skin when you're looking at this distribution and you're saying, oh, 85% of India is beauty and wellness. And guess what? Nu Skin is a beauty and wellness and lifestyle leadership opportunity platform company. So we are perfectly positioned to go in and maximize this market. I want to spend just a little bit of time to just give a quick recap on what our product philosophy is. I mentioned a couple of times ago about how purchasing power parity, cost of living is important in India. And that's really reflected in how we're planning kind of our product segmentation approach. if you think about it, we're trying to tie our products to our target audience. And for those of you who might have attended our prior calls, you might notice that there's actually a slight difference to the slides. Again, this is just us as we're getting closer to launch, refining our approach, refining our product strategy. But our current thinking is essentially to have three key segments in our steady state portfolio. Note that all of these products will not be available for our initial launch, but the thinking here is to build out our portfolio as we grow in the market, and the portfolio will look something like this, where we will have our premium products, our top of the line products, we'll have our prestige products, just kind of the middle layer, and then we'll have our masstige products, which is more affordable luxury. It's something that I think will appeal to the broader demographic. And if you look at what I've got in the column on the right-hand side, that's really what it's meant to represent, is who the target audience would be for these different segments. The premium sector would really attract the top 1%.
Most people dream of traveling the world.
Looks like we just had a minor technical difficulty there. But like I was saying, that premium segment is really all about the top 1% affluent metro consumers. We think that's where the target demographic is going to be. For our prestige group, which is more of our typical Nu Skin Pharmanex products, the target demographic is going to be urban, upper middle class, and professionals. And then finally, we've got the masstige group, which is our urban, aspiring middle class millennials, tier 1 and tier 2 cities. So from a high level conceptual perspective, this is our approach to what products are going to be in India. Now, when we talk about, I want to talk a little bit about those specific products, more specifically about Pharmanex. This right here is what's going to be in our launch portfolio. We will have what we're calling kind of our core nutrition range and also our TRME range. But you'll notice in the middle, the all-important Prism IO. I'm sure everyone's excited about Prism, the potential that it has, the growth that it's going to bring us, because it's one of a kind. It truly is one of a kind. There's nothing like it in the market. And what's going to be special about India and the India Pharmanex products is that each of these products that you see on the screen, they're going to have a proprietary carotenoid blend that we've created with a manufacturing partner who actually has locations and facilities in India. And this carotenoid blend is actually inspired by Ayurvedic ingredients. So it's actually going to have time-old Indian ingredients like tulsi, holy basil, curcumin, turmeric. So it's really all of those kind of Indian-inspired ingredients, but that are still great for carotenoid boosting. That are going to be in each of these products, which means from a Prism selling point, from a carotenoid score improvement point, all of these products are going to go great, perfectly paired with Prism. And a quick note on what you see over here as well, kind of this Life Pack 4 section. It's really our attempt to get closer to personalized wellness, because you're all familiar with our Life Pack offerings. You've got Nano, you've got Elements in all of our different markets. Life Pack Core for India is going to be interesting because what it's going to do is it's formulated to specifically address the Indian population's vitamin deficiencies. So that's, I think, a really cool step forward in terms of how we're personalizing the wellness journey for all of us, for all of our consumers, and for all of our affiliates. Our Nu Skin section you saw, we'll be starting with what we call, I think, a basic regimen, but basic regimen is still targeted towards brightening or fairness, because that's really the #1 beauty and personal care need in India is brightening. So what you see here are essentially products of a cleanse, tone, treat, moisturize regimen with an SPF that'll also serve as the protecting function. And obviously, it would be, what would cleansing be without our LumiSpa device, right? So this is really what's going to be our Nu Skin line. And then I'm really excited to talk about this line right here, which is actually a line we created for India, really based on demand and data that we're seeing in India. There's a couple of things about India from a salon perspective. It's actually, the salon industry is really big in India. It's actually bigger than the direct selling market. It's about $11 billion. And most of that is fragmented. What do I mean by fragmented? It's not big chains, it's not big salons. There's a few of those, but for the most part, it's fragmented. So from a manufacturer's perspective, from a brand's perspective, it's always hard to go and try and have one-on-one conversations with all of the salon owners. I think that's where Nu Skin can really come in, and the power of our business model can help scale and penetrate our products to the salon line. So Serenue is really kind of built and positioned for that salon line. In fact, that's why it's also called Serenue Professional. It's a big part of Indian salon owners' needs is to have products that are tagged as professional. The second aspect of it is actually what we're talking about is just the devices. You'll notice we've got the LumiSpa device, but also our galvanic facial spa device. And the reasoning there is, as we've conducted research in India, we know that there's a lot of the general consumer is still a little bit apprehensive when it comes to using DIY at-home devices. But all of a sudden, if they're going to their weekly salon appointment or bi-weekly salon appointment and they're seeing their subject matter expert, salon stylist use these devices, they're good. That's naturally going to create curiosity. They're going to try and understand the product, and ultimately that's going to help them get one in their house. So really, it's kind of this two-pronged approach of capturing a bigger market size, but also going in with what is our strength, our beauty devices, but also making sure that we're creating brand awareness through a channel that we might not have been used to in our other markets. Now, that was kind of a quick intro on what our products strategy is, why India matters, or why you should be excited about India from an opportunity perspective. Now, let's talk about the opportunity specifically. India, from a direct selling regulations perspective, is still a little tricky to work around, right? There's some regulations that come in that say, what do we need to factor in, like who can build, who cannot build in India. So there's essentially a few different areas that you would need to understand of those who can build in India. Now, from a regulations point of view, really the easiest way to build a Nu Skin India business is to either be an Indian national or someone of Indian origin. What do I mean by that? So an Indian national is someone living in India. They're an Indian citizen. They've got an Indian passport potentially. So those are people we cannot obviously approach today because we're not open in India, and we don't have pre-marketing in India available currently. But what we do have are non-resident Indians, overseas citizens of India, PIOs. So these are just different groups of Indian or Indian origin people who are living in our markets today. So non-resident Indians are Indian citizens, but they're working in the US. Maybe they're here for work, or maybe they immigrated to be closer to family. Overseas citizens of India could also be someone who's held an Indian citizenship in the past, and they've given it up to gain another citizenship, or they could be someone whose parents are Indian, grandparents are Indian, person of Indian origin is someone similar as well. So really, these four groups are kind of the groups who are going to have it easiest in terms of building a Nu Skin business. Now, there is a final group as well here, which I've noted, which is kind of our foreigners with valid Indian business visas and a whole bunch of other documents. I'm not sure if any of you here have had the opportunity to deal with Indian bureaucracy, but it takes a lot out of you. There's a lot of documents that you need to go and get to create this Indian business entity. You'll need to pay taxes in India. You'll need to set up a bank account in India. So there's a lot of formalities that maybe as the average person who's maybe not going to go and spend a significant amount of time in India might not work for you, right? So why am I telling you this? You're probably looking at that slide and going, well, what's the point of joining this call and wanting to be a part of India? Well, let me tell you, because there's 8.3 million Indian or Indian origin people just in North America alone. If you look at this little pie chart I've got on my slide, there's about 20 million Indians outside of India. And why do I say that? Well, because these 20 million Indians are already living in countries that Nu Skin already operates in. What does that mean for you? Well, that means that you can go and sign them up. You can recruit them and sponsor them today already, introduce them to the Nu Skin brand, introduce them to the Nu Skin products. And hey, if they're interested in being a part of the India expansion, they are the ones that are going to help you benefit from India. Because ultimately what you would need to do is you would need to create this first generation India eligible leaders. What does that mean? Well, let's talk about what we're calling the global growth pool. Now, I mentioned earlier that as a foreigner, unless you go up and set up that Indian business entity, there's going to be a lot of work revolving around just setting that up. You can't really participate in India. Well, there is a way for you to participate in India through your what we're calling your India eligible person. I just said there's 20 million Indians outside of India. And if you can go and sponsor them and have them be a part of your global team, that is going to open up India to you in a big way through the global growth pool. So what is the global growth pool? So let's talk about this scenario here, right? So you've got this US leader over here, and she's a gold or a brand rep. She's living in the US. She has a neighbor who's actually living in the US as well, but they're India eligible. What does that mean? Maybe they've got a green card, a permanent resident card, or maybe they're an OCI holder or a PIO holder. Well, they can still come in and join the US business before November, right? They can come and join today. So as this leader comes and brings in this person, that's essentially step one of how she can benefit from India. Well, what does that mean? Well, when India opens, so November is our qualified entry period. So when this US leader brings in this India eligible person and they set up their US account, as long as this India eligible person's US account is a brand rep by November, they will be able to go and create an Indian account. Now, I want you to pay close attention to this graphic right here, because this is different than how we do things in a lot of our other markets. You'll notice that this isn't an arrow. It's actually the same person. Again, because of India's regulations, the line of sponsorship must start and end in India. In other words, everything that starts in India stays in India. So what we need to do from a company perspective there is to make sure that you have your US person who has their US account. They will then go and create an India account through which their entire India team will start to grow and build. Well, what does that mean for you? Because again, you are connected to this US person, to your global business, but this Indian account right here that this person is setting up, it's the same person, but it's a completely separate tree that's existing in India. So what's the benefit for you? Well, the benefit for you is as this person that you know in the US, you have supported and mentored them, and as they grow and as they go and build a global business of which India is going to be a part of, as they go and build this India team out here, and that India team is generating a lot of sales, and we just finalized this amount right here. If this India team is generating about 500,000 rupees of sales in India, which is roughly about $7,500 worth of sales, that India leadership team that you have essentially becomes an unlock for you to participate in the global growth pool. What I mean by unlock is essentially you will be qualified for a global growth pool payment that is going to be an approximate value of what lead bonus would have been if you were able to get lead bonus in India. What does that mean? So if this person is qualifying as that leadership team with about 500,000 rupees in sales, then you will be able to benefit off of their sales in India through the global growth pool. But not only just that team, but all eligible volume in your organization. What does that mean? Let's say this US leader, she's got a couple of leaders, a couple of levels below her, and they're also working on India. Now, even though this leader didn't personally sponsor those other India eligible accounts, she can benefit from them as they go and build in India, as long as she has this personally sponsored G1 India leadership team that has that 500,000 rupees of sales. So that's going to be really important, because that is really the only way that you would benefit off of India is commissions. Again, because India is its own separate tree, its own separate volume, product sales need to start and end there. You will not be able to count any of that volume for qualification, progression, or maintenance of your own titles. It's actually the same for this person as well. Even though these two are the same person, they have to maintain separate accounts from a progression, from a maintenance perspective. So really, it's important to understand how the global growth pool works, and really the importance of having this G1 person, because this G1 person is essentially your unlock into the market. Now, when we're talking about unlocking into the market, I want to talk about the qualified entry period. We're going to start operations in November, but between November and the middle of next year, we will actually have a what we're calling a qualified entry period before the official launch or the main launch. And really, what's different about the qualified entry period is two things. From an operations perspective, we will have full operations as of November, so there won't be operationally anything different. But what will be different, and here's why it matters to you, is between November and the middle of next year, the only people who will be able to go into India, the only India eligible people who will be able to go into India are those who are already a brand rep in their global accounts outside of India. So what does that mean? This person right here that we've said is a US account, as long as their account is a brand rep or higher by November, they will be able to go into India and participate as of November. Now, let's say they're not a brand rep and they're a brand affiliate the entire time between November and the middle of next year until official launch, they won't be able to participate, but they will be able to participate once full launch happens. So as an India eligible brand affiliate, they can participate in full launch. But if at any time between November and the middle of next year, their US account becomes a brand rep, they will be able to go into India and start creating their team, which will ultimately give you the benefit through the global growth pool. One thing to note as well, because we've got this question a few times, is will anyone be able to go into India and sponsor as of the main launch? No. Until regulations change, the only people who can go into India and sponsor are these India eligible people or the people in India themselves. So that's kind of the main reason why you guys should get excited about being a part of this qualified entry period, because it gives you a massive first mover advantage. The second reason why you should be excited about being part of this qualified entry is really the founders promotion, because the founders promotion is a limited time promotion that is going to only happen for the duration of the qualified entry period. And what is the founders promotion? I spent a bit of time talking to you about the global growth pool. And if you understand the global growth pool, you'll understand the founders promotion. Because from a recognition point of view, you can be an India founder one of two ways. So you've got this Canadian brand rep over here, and as long as she is a Ruby Plus in Canada, and she sponsors any an Indian eligible brand rep in any of Nu Skin's open markets, excluding China and Vietnam, she will then be able to go and be recognized as an Indian founder the minute this Canadian Indian eligible brand rep account goes into India and becomes a brand rep themselves. So that's one way you can be a founder, an India founder as an international person. You can also be a founder as an India eligible person yourself. So if you, as an India eligible person, you've already got your Canadian account, you've become a brand rep before November. So then in November, you're going in, you're creating your India account. When you yourself go and create another brand rep in India, so essentially becoming a Gold Plus brand rep in India, you will then become a India founder yourself as well, because ultimately both you and this Canadian leader are both India founders because you have gone and created a brand rep in India. So from a recognition perspective, you will always be known as an India founder. I think that's a great recognition title to have. Just imagine 2 decades down the line, if you're here as an India founding member, that's got a lot of cachet that goes with it and a lot of experiences for sure that would go with it. The second part that's, I think, even more exciting to this promotion is the incentive portion of this promotion. And really, as I mentioned before, if you understand the global growth pool, you will understand the incentive piece of this promotion as well. Because if you look at this graphic that we've got here, it's a very similar layout to the global growth pool promotion that I was just describing. So really, to qualify for the incentive portion of this India's founder promotion, all you need to do as an international India founder is, as long as you are a Ruby Plus account and you've got this India eligible person who is going in and qualifying you for the global growth pool in India, the founders promotion essentially gives you 2x your returns. So in other words, if Global Growth Pool was paying you $1,000, if you qualified for the founders promotion, instead of getting $1,000 for that month, you'd actually get $2,000 for that month. It's as simple as saying you're essentially 2xing your Global Growth Pool. Now, I mentioned that India eligible people themselves will also be able to benefit from the incentive portion. And as an India eligible person, you don't get Global Growth Pool yourself because you are participating in the India Comp Plan. And the India Comp Plan has the lead bonus. So really, all you're going to have is essentially 2x your lead bonus. So in other words, the founders promotion is as simple as saying if you're an international founder, you're going to get double global growth pool. if you are in India or an India eligible brand rep who's also a founder, you're going to get double lead. Now, it's very important to note that this promotion, while lucrative and exciting, is really only for duration of the qualified entry period. So that's why you guys really need to be making sure that you've got all your folks becoming BRs today or before November, so that they can go in and take part of that India qualified entry period as of November. So those are kind of two key programs that we're expecting to really drive a lot of excitement around India. But I want to spend a little bit of time also talking about India's sales performance plan. We didn't cover this in our last month's opportunity call, so we can talk about this in a little more detail today. But really what I want you to think about when you're thinking about the sales performance plan is that it's simple, that it's flexible, that it's localized. Ricky mentioned that I've had a few different roles at Nu Skin, and one of those roles was heading up our customer experience team. And part of that role entailed listening to a lot of feedback from you, our leaders, from our customers. And without fail, the number one feedback that we got from all of our affiliates, all of our leaders, is why is the comp plan so difficult to explain? And it's understandable, right? As the company evolves, as comp plans evolve, it takes a little bit more to kind of go through and add nuances to the plan. Now, with India's regulations and it having to be its own thing and separate, we actually have the ability to simplify a lot of the pieces of the India plan, and that's what we've done. We've taken advantage of the regulations to kind of create an India SPP that's simple, that's flexible, and that's localized. What does that mean? There's going to be three key differences when we talk about our India SPP. One, it's going to be a currency-based plan. Because India volume doesn't flow outside of India, there's no need to do anything like points conversion. So PV, GB, SV, none of that really exists in India. Everything's just based on currency. So it's really something as simple as saying if you sell 10,000 rupees worth of product, you're going to get 500 rupees of commission, something like that. You don't have to take your sales, convert it to PV, and do all of that. From a progression to a brand affiliate and brand rep perspective, we're actually having a pre-qualifying stage or almost a qualifying brand affiliate stage. That's going to be called a direct seller. So unlike the North American market today where everyone signs up as a brand affiliate, in India, everyone would sign up as a direct seller, which is different than a brand affiliate. The reason is because one of our bonuses is really focused on the retail earnings opportunity. And to make sure that the retail opportunity works, we need to ensure that the brand affiliate is the only one who can get the lowest possible price. Today, a brand affiliate and a member both get the lowest possible price. In India, it'll only be the brand affiliate who gets the lowest possible price. So what about this direct seller that I told you about? Well, this direct seller will actually get the same price as member price, which is a little bit higher than the brand affiliate price. So to go from being a brand affiliate, direct seller to a brand affiliate, you'll actually just need to show intent that you are going in and wanting to build a business. And we will quantify that by saying you would need to personally sell 10,000 rupees worth of product, which is about $120 worth of product, to go from this direct seller to brand affiliate phase. And once you do that, you unlock, it's a one-time cumulative requirement. Once you do that, you unlock the affiliate pricing, lowest possible pricing to benefit off of all the different bonuses. And then finally, from a simplified bonus structure, in the US, we have 4 to 5 different bonuses. We're simplifying those to 3. So let's talk about what those 3 are. The first bonus, like I mentioned, is very dependent on pricing. So it's called an L1 bonus, but it's actually going to be called a marketing bonus. So a little sneak peek for all of you guys is that we've finalized the India SPP. It is currently in legal review. So we're hopeful by the end of next week, early first week of August, that we'll be able to publicly share the official documentation, not just on the India SPP, but also on the Global Growth Pool and the Founders Promotion that I just went over. So in that absence, let's go quickly over what are at a high level, what these different bonuses are. So this L1 bonus, this marketing bonus, really all it is a price differential between what you can buy products at versus what your customer or affiliate can buy products at. So if you could buy a certain product at $80 and a retail customer buys it at $100, you're getting that $20 difference. Now, if you are an affiliate and you're selling to another affiliate, you both buy at the same price. So obviously there's not going to be a difference. So it really is just kind of a absolute rupee difference is what you get as a bonus. But that absolute rupee difference can be up to 25% off the retail price of the product. So really simple. You sell products, you get a commission. You sell products to customers, you get a commission. Now let's talk about that next level. Well, what do you do after you become an established seller? What do you do once you're like, hey, I've mastered the art of selling. Now I want more. How do I do that? Well, here's where you go from selling products yourselves to finding other sellers. This L2 bonus, what we're calling a developing bonus, is kind of the bridge between someone who's still an affiliate versus someone who wants to kind of explore and get into the path of becoming a brand rep. So how do we go about accomplishing that? Well, this developing bonus is as simple as a flat 10% if you're an affiliate on your second level. You can think of this like your referring bonus today in the US with some tweaks to it, right? Because today in the referring bonus, you get paid on your second level and you qualify in your first level. This will be the same. Where it's not going to be the same is your qualifier is not DCSV. Your qualifier is not direct customer sales volume. It's just everything that's on your first level pays you everything that's on your second level. So even if you've got a brand rep on your second level who's making a personal purchase, you will get a benefit off of that. So it's again as simple as saying, you go and sell products, you make a commission. You go and find other sellers who sell products, you make a commission off that as well. It's as simple as that. And if you're an affiliate, it's 10%. Now, if you want to make more and you want to go into the back end of the plan, that's kind of where brand rep comes in. So if you're a brand rep, and as you are personally selling more and more, so more L1 sales, your bonus could go from that 10% to 15 to 20 to 25%. There's different tiers of payments that you would get based on how much your L1 sales are. And those tiers will be announced in the next couple of weeks as we publish the India SPP documentation. Now, finally, Nu Skin at its core is a leadership company. It'll always be a leadership company. So we need to make sure that the back end of our plan is still representative to the core of who we are. So our lead bonus will be very similar to the lead bonus that we have in North America today. In other words, it's going to be 5% of across 6 levels, depending on your title, of course. But in addition, you might have noticed in the previous bonus, the BRs only got a benefit of their second level. So what if someone's a BR and they've got a third level or fourth level or fifth level? Well, that's where the lead bonus in India comes in, because not only do we pay the 5% on G1 to G6, we're also adding another 5% to G0, or what is in essence your group, right? So in addition to getting your developing bonus or your L2 bonus as a brand rep, you're getting a 5% bonus on your entire group. That's different than the 5% that you get across your different teams or your different generations. So that's what the lead bonus is. It's going to be a little richer because of that extra 5% on your group. But to its core, it's still the core of who we are with our leadership principles of 5%, 6 levels. So that's what our India SPP is going to look like. So hopefully, as you kind of recollect this and reference this, you'll see that we've attempted to make it simpler. We've attempted to learn and kind of take some of the evolutions of our existing comp plans and make that localized for India. So from a story perspective, it's simple, right? It's if you want to make money, you sell products. If you want to make a little bit more money, you find other sellers to sell products. And then to open the back end, you start building teams and leading teams. Simple story with a simple structure. So from a comp plan perspective, that's what I can share with you today. Keep an eye out for more. Ricky will be sharing a QR code at the end of this meeting, and that QR code will be your kind of one-stop shop for all the up-to-date documents. Today, it'll have the slides that I'm covering with you today, but over the next couple of weeks, keep an eye out for the India SPP, for the Founders Program, for the Global Growth Pool details. And then I also just want to spend a couple of minutes talking about our digital-first approach in India. I mentioned India's population is tech-savvy, very heavy on the digital side. We want to make sure that we're addressing that when it comes to how we offer technology solutions for India. Now, there's a lot of moving parts as we get ready for November launch. And those of you who've been with us for other market launches know that it's always a hustle to get there to the finish line. And there's going to be a lot of things that might break. So what we want to do from a digital experience perspective is make sure that we have the fundamentals right for our qualified entry. What does that mean? It means that we might not have Vera and Stella. We're doing our best to get it there, but we might not have that initially, because what we're trying to do is get you the fundamentals, which is a working website where you can sign up, where you can shop, where you can subscribe, where you can share products, and where you can build a business. What does that mean? So from a website perspective, it'll have the basic functionalities of what you would expect from a website. You would also have BNG. So you'd be able to go into the website to use BNG and track your volume and manage your business. And then since we're also going to have Prism early next year with the global launches, we will also have the Prism app. Those are really the three key things that we're focusing on having for the qualified entry period. And then the rest of our technology stack will be bringing in as quickly as we can between our qualified entry period and our full launch. So with that, I'm going to pass the time back over to Ricky. Thank you for having me. It's been amazing to share all this information with you.
Andrew, before you run away, you are phenomenal. Thank you so much. I think we're doing good on time. Are you okay if I ask you a couple of questions that I saw over and over in the chat? Will products be delivered all over India?
Yeah, so great question. India is vast, right? So we would need like an insane logistical infrastructure to be able to like give everyone 1 or 2 day deliveries. We don't have that at the start. What we will have, and what we know based on the data, is that a lot of direct selling happens in the north and northwest of India. That accounts for 60 to 70% of all direct sales in India. So what we're going to do is we're going to have at least one warehouse that's in that area, potentially 2. So in that area, you can expect quicker delivery times, 1 to 2 days. But if you're placing orders like in the east of India or in the south of India, we will deliver. But because we don't have warehouses, it's going to take a little bit more time. Over time, we'll build out our logistical footprint. But at launch for the first couple of years, just be prepared and set expectations that if you're not in that north and northwest part of India, products will take a little bit more time to get to you.
Okay, awesome. Will we have an opening event, and when and where will it be?
Yes, we will have events for our qualified entry period, and we'll also have events for our main launch in the middle of next year. For the qualified entry period, we're really close to nailing down what the dates are going to be, what the events are going to be. With the excitement that we have and with what I just mentioned about the North and Northwest being big players in the direct selling space, we're hoping to do a few different roadshows in a few major cities in those areas, but also have like a bigger kind of kickoff one in Mumbai, which is where our office headquarters will be.
Awesome. Fantastic. Okay. If let's pretend that I sponsor a non-India eligible individual, right? So somebody from the US, let's pretend, who doesn't have Indian descent, and they go in and sponsor an India eligible brand rep. Do I get any type of pay yet?
Great question. So the only pay that anyone who's international will get is a global growth pool. And the only way you get the global growth pool is to have a personally sponsored India eligible person. What does that mean? Is you didn't personally sponsor that India eligible person, your first level did. So they're the ones who would benefit from the global growth pool if that India can't fulfill the criteria. Now, let's say that person that's below you, that US person who's not India eligible, they, for whatever reason, leave the business and that India eligible account rolls up to you, you still wouldn't get the benefit of global growth pool because that India eligible account needs to be personally sponsored. So that's the key thing to note.
Awesome. And I saw that question several times. So the key, you guys, is you have to have at least one personally sponsored India eligible brand rep. And then however deep, based on your title that you're building out in India, then yes, you can absolutely get paid on that through the global growth pool. Okay, Andrew, what happens if I become a brand rep, India eligible brand rep in December? I know we're shooting for November for the launch, but what happens if I have my leader hit that in December? Are they eligible to participate?
Yeah, really good question. We know life happens, and we know it's really hard to kind of push everyone for that November launch, November qualified entry. So what we're doing is, as long as your India eligible account is a brand rep anytime in that qualified entry period. So between November and the middle of next year, as long as that US account or Canadian account becomes a brand rep, we will then authorize that account to be able to go and create their India account. So in your example of December, yeah, they might have missed out on November and building a team in India in November, but they'll still be able to do it as of December.
Okay, fantastic. So we're all going to shoot for November, right? That's our goal. But you will still be able to participate even if it happens afterwards. Okay, on product, you showed us some great images on the product coming. Will we have maybe a list with SKUs sooner than later so we can kind of see?
Yes. Yeah. So we've been focusing on the SPP and the programs, like I mentioned. So those will be done in the next couple of weeks. And then in August, our focus is product information, product assets, PIPs. So we're still finalizing a few formulas, but the goal is by the end of August, you will have all of that information, all of the relevant product information you need to go out and confidently speak to the business. And again, that'll be in that link that I mentioned where you've got, where you'll be sharing, Ricky, at the end, that access to the binder link.
Fantastic. Andrew, you're amazing. Last question, and this hits my heart really close because I just returned from Malawi. We had a question, will at some point Vitameal be a part of the portfolio in India?
Great question. So we are looking into that right now with India and with kind of India's own, I think, great social causes that we can rely on with female empowerment and child malnourishment. There's a lot of opportunities for us to play in that area. We still need to have kind of the business analysis to say if Vitameal is going to be the right option or if it's going to be something that's locally manufactured. So that's something we're still looking into, but absolutely we will have key social causes that Nu Skin India as a company will be working towards.
Amazing. You guys in the chat, please give it up one more time for Andrew. He has given us so much information, so much detail. Thank you for taking time with us. And you guys, we're going to keep doing these every single month as we get closer to November. And the recording, remember, right now, everyone, we are streaming live into our US Business Facebook group and our Canada Facebook group. So even right when we get done, you guys can pop over there, rewatch any of the parts, or invite your teams to come there. But now, you guys, this is my favorite part. Okay, yes, I love when corporate us, we come and we share and we give you all the information that you need. But more importantly, what I love is hearing from you guys, hearing from leaders, hearing what you're doing out there in the world right now as you are running. And I'm very excited for our next guest speaker. You guys, we have Cameron here, which I think it's very, very early in the morning for him. He is a Blue Diamond out of Australia. And he has been, I can't remember how long he's been here, but he's going to share that with us real quick. But he loves traveling and fitness and has 3 kids. So very excited to hear Cameron and everything he is doing to get ready for India. So get ready to take some notes. Welcome, Cameron.
Thanks, Ricky. Thanks, Andrew, and thanks, team. Yeah, good morning, North America, and it certainly is good morning. I think it's 2:45 over here, but we wouldn't have it any other way. 102 days is the amount of time we've got left until the largest country on the planet opens. I believe we're staring at the largest opportunity in direct selling history when you look at it from an Indian nationals perspective. The way the company has strategically built a model that's standalone. It's a market that's standalone. It's no sales volume. It's a currency-based model. There's a pricing accordingly. I think when we've been so successful in identifying leaders in the community by separating what our opportunity is and what the opportunity is for the Indian community. And I mean that we get to participate in the global growth pool. We get 10% for the first 12 months, which is awesome. But I think when we understand what we have in our hands and we can relay that to the Indian community and the fact that, you know, they're basically only competing against their own community to enter the largest market on the planet with 1.4 billion people. It's the second largest English-speaking country in the world. The digital approach, if you look at the consumer markets that we're entering, their weight management market's going to go threefold in the next 5 years, and we're going into that market with that consumer market with the TRME that's been named the #1 product in Southeast Asia, 8 years in Malaysia, 7 years in Singapore, and now South Korea. When you look at the supplement market, that's going to be a $68+ billion market by 2030, and we're anchoring that with the Prism and a purposely designed life pack that fixed the deficiencies. When you look at the beauty market that we're running with our in-home, with the #1 beauty devices, and you put that into perspective, that they get to enter the market and take this brand back into that marketplace. And then the market gets closed up for 6 months. There's a very limited competition. I think when you start to join all those dots, the fact that it's the 4th largest economy, it's just overtaken Japan. They're saying in the next 6 to 8 months that it'll overtake Germany and become the 3rd largest economy. All of these components, when you put them together, I don't believe there is a larger opportunity for the Indian community involved in direct selling. How do we get involved, and why are you on this call? You're in a very unique position yourselves. You've got more Indian eligibles in your backyard or in North America than all else other markets put together. That's the first thing. But what we need to be able to do is identify a frontline brand rep OCI. And the way we've been able to do that, and I've got 5 individual brand reps on my front line and driving legs, is being able to separate it and putting ourselves in the seat of the Indian OCI and explaining to them exactly what is in front of them, what the opportunity is. And we've done this as a team. We've had a mission to say that we are only competing against the Indian community at the moment. So we've gone about with a whole structure of building the best team in the Indian community. And I think that's been one of the main successes that we've had, is putting ourselves in that seat, taking ourselves out of what's in it for us. The Indian community are a very network community. They're very family orientated. We've found it's been multiple exposures. It's not an event in any way, shape or form. It's been a slow process, but once we've got that traction over time, it's starting to snowball, certainly. But they're entrepreneurial. They're very well connected. Your doctor, your dentist, your pharmacist. I mean, I think they're possibly the most educated population on the planet. But we've been working at this since we heard the announcement over a year ago, almost. Well, just under a year ago. But I keep saying to the team every day, we've got a countdown coming, but 102 days. But I think one of the real strong messages that we're getting back is the fact that the company, and I say this respectfully, isn't just taking the American model in. So there are some frustrations for some leaders out of the marketplaces that we do need to develop individual or frontline OCIs to participate, but that's allowing the company to build a purpose-built model in India, a product range purposely for India, a compensation plan for India, and there are so many attractions to that. The average population at 28, 65% of the population 35 years or younger, and the fact that they've, unlike our generation, have never had to rewind anything. They want everything instantly. I think the approach and the business relationship and the partnership with Infosys to take these products back through those consumer markets is exceptional. I still believe that Andrew and the rest of them are undershooting what we will do in the first 12 to 18 months. In Australia, the Singh has just been announced as the largest surname in Australia. It's taken over Smith. So we've been able to find our number of leaders just in my backyard here, but I was doing a little bit of research before, and I just noticed that North America has the largest number of Indians with all the other markets put together. So you guys are in a really unique position. We've got 102 days. That's a lot of time. I think every time Andrew presents, we hear a little bit more. I'm obviously always after as much information as he can provide us, but I think the dots are starting to get joined. And I think it's just an exceptional model that we're going into. The price is right. The strategic approach that the company is making, and not flooding the market in its first instance, and entering the weight management market, as I said, with that one particular product that I think will disrupt it. entering the supplement market with just our Life Pack and the Prism, which I think is going to make some noise in that market. And then obviously we all know what the devices do in the beauty arena. If you put those three markets, consumer markets, together in India, they're some of the fastest growing, in the top 5 fastest growing consumer markets on the planet. And I think when you can explain that to the Indian OCI outside of the country, sitting here and understanding that they get to introduce this brand back into those consumer markets, backed by Infosys, with limited competition, it's a very attractive proposition. So that's been our approach. There's been certainly a number of exposures would be the first thing. I think, in particular with the Indian community, it's a relationship community. I don't think you can speak to your dentist or your doctor for the first time and say, "Hey, I've got a great opportunity." I think you can certainly plant the seed, and that's what we've been doing. We've been doing it successfully over here. So just all understand that when the opportunity, I think, is explained in the way that it is from their perspective, because it's unique. We've got some fantastic leaders around the globe and some fantastic leaders on this call. And what an opportunity it would have been if we were the only ones that could bring this back into our country. And that's what they have in their hands at the moment. And I think when we take ourselves out of the equation and we put ourselves in that seat and we join the dots and we do it through multiple exposures, I think that's the way that you end up building a loyal team from the Indian community and be able to participate back in the market. So back to you, Ricky.
Oh my gosh, Cameron, thank you so much, number one, for taking the time and just sharing what you're doing. I can't wait to see your success when we launch here in November. So thank you. Team, you guys, if Cameron's words don't get you excited for India, I don't know what is going to. He said when we first jumped on that, to him, this is the largest opportunity in direct sales history. You guys, I believe it. Okay. There's so many factors that are all aligning to this right now. And I absolutely believe it. Thank you, Cameron. As India right now is the 4th largest economy, and, leaning towards the 3rd, could be here in the next 6 months, plus the perfect timing of a Prism rollout, right? Something that we've been working on for over 20 years. We have Prism, we have India across the globe. This can be 2 incredible things that come together to be the largest opportunity in direct sales. So let's do a couple of call to actions. You guys had some incredible questions. I invite you to go back and watch it again because it's a lot of information. Go back and watch our first one. You can find it on the Facebook pages. Because again, it's good to hear it over and over as you are out there having conversations and leading and guiding. Okay, so first and foremost, I want you to remember we are doing a pre-opening of India in November, okay? And you must have an India eligible brand rep or higher to be able by November to participate, okay? That's the biggest thing. Now, as you are enrolling, training these individuals, please make sure in your home markets, they have to go in and upload their proper documentation, okay? And we have trainings on how to do that. We have a whole website that answers questions on how to do that, but they have to upload proper documentation. That means an India passport or an OCI card or a PIO card or any other India issued photo ID, maybe like a driver's license. Now, you guys, I know this may seem like a simple point. However, the uploads that we have seen recently had people are just taking a photo of themselves and putting it on there. We saw a photo of a cat and they put it on there. Okay, that doesn't count. Okay, so please make sure as you're bringing people in, you're having the conversation, and it must be that proper documentation that they're uploading. Now, you as their upline can also go in and verify that the India eligible accounts have been confirmed by the company. So when you go into VNG and you're in your sales organization and you find your affiliate there, you can click on them. And if there is a flag that says INE for India eligible, INE, that means it has been confirmed by the company that they are India eligible. So if you haven't seen that, again, go back and talk with your new affiliate that you recruited and make sure that they upload their proper documentation. Now, the process on our end could take anywhere from one day to about a week for that process to happen. So do allow a week for us to go in and verify these accounts. Okay, and then again, like Cameron shared, okay, here in North America, we have the largest population of India people who live outside of India, right here in North America. And when we're looking across the globe so far today to see which markets are out there sponsoring and bringing in individuals, we already have over 400 people globally that are India eligible. And you guys, right now, North America has only 9% of that number. So we definitely have some work to do. I think it helps now that we have that November date. So we can be out there having those conversations and building to what is going to happen this November. Okay, I think that's everything. Did we put up the QR code? Sorry if I missed it. Did you guys put up the QR code? Alicia, if you can help me, you're amazing. You guys take a picture of this right here. We have so many assets, questions and answers, and an email that you can chat or email to if you have more questions. And it is answered by the best team, small and mighty right now, with Andrew and with Mike Keller. And again, thank you for all the information today. And let's go out and see what we can do and keep having those conversations with individuals about India, about Prism. And we're going to have an incredible year. And again, thank you to our special guest, Cameron, for staying awake with us and coming to share all of his thoughts, you guys. All right, let's make it a great day. Bye, guys.